back from church. I have thawed out the rest of my tomatoes that I was going to do overnight and run them through the food mill. I've got a lot of sauce. A lot of sauce in here. And I will be cooking them down to about halfway, and then I'm going to water bath them. And we'll have a few jars of tomato sauce and some more space in the freezer. All right, I've put all the tomatoes through the food mill. Got quite a bit of sauce. Looks good. In the meantime, I'm gonna let this simmer, get to about 180 degrees before we want to drop the jars down. All right, so acid is needed when you're canning tomatoes. You can use citric acid. They usually make it in the aisle with fall canning stuff. You can find it, or you can just use lemon juice. And I use a tablespoon per pint jar. We're going to bring these to a rolling boil and start the timer for 35 minutes. Good afternoon. It is a windy day here in East Tennessee. Clouding up too. I think it's going to rain, but it's not cold. So that's good. I've got a few things I've got to do on my list today. I'm going to fertilize my Japanese maple that I got out there, and I may try to pull some weeds in my front yard. I need to do that before I start planting flowers and all that good stuff up front, and just check everything in the greenhouse. Let's gander at it all. Ooh, I'm gonna pick some of those. I planted some German pink tomatoes, which I've never planted before. These all look really good. These are my Romas. And I planted them a little bit later, but they're all coming out really good. Now check out my Venus flytrap. It's a Carnivorous Plant. Never seen one bloom before, but it looks like it's fixing to. Now, something else I've got going on over here. This is the Amaryllis, and y'all saw it earlier. I said it looked like an arrowhead. Well, it was getting a slit down the middle of it, and this has come out of it. And this is what appears to be blooms. My husband said the other day, he's like, it looks like it's going to bloom. And I said, I don't know. I think it's just the foliage. But that's the foliage that she said would come up. And it just kind of got to there and just kind of stopped. And then this little thing looked like an arrowhead and started opening up. And now this has come out. And literally it just bloomed at Valentine's Day. And I assumed, from what they told me, that it would only bloom again next year. That I could possibly force bloom it at Christmas, but I'd have to like take it in and let it go dormant. It's blooming again. I'm totally shocked, which I'm super excited about. And I was hoping maybe it would be bloomed in time for Easter. On Sunday service at our church, we have a cross we have put up that we actually put up this past Sunday, Palm Sunday. And we put palm leaves on it, you know, symbolizing when Jesus rode into town on a donkey. And now, if this would be bloomed by Easter, which I don't know, we put flowers on the cross at Easter, and I would love to be able to put one of those on there. So, fingers crossed. But if not, I'll find something else in here to put on the cross. I just thought that was so interesting that it would bloom 2 times. I planted some African daisies, and they just come up. Never planted those before. They look pretty on the seed packet, so we'll see how they do. And my marigolds come up. I planted more of them. I did like a dense planting. I want to see how that does. They're starting to come up as well. But yeah, everything's good in here. I'm going to walk down to this really pretty dogwood tree that I have down behind the chicken coop and show you guys. It's so pretty. Isn't that just beautiful? Look at that. So pretty. Alright y'all, time to fertilize my Japanese maple. It's gonna rain, so good time to do it. I use plant tone, and I usually do it in the spring when it's growing. That's gorgeous. Look at that. So pretty. Flowers, Coreopsis, and if y'all can see this, my hostas are starting to come up. They were so gorgeous last year, so pretty, and they had the most beautiful blooms on them. And it won't be long, my rose bush will be blooming. I'm gonna feed it too. It's not too windy. On my garlic that I planted last November. Actually, I think it was October. This originated from the Smoky Mountains, and I got 2 rows of it, and it's very large. I should be able to harvest it in June. This is the stuff that I grew literally just from the grocery store garlic, and I just took the cloves off and planted them. Didn't cost much. Got a whole bunch in here come up, and it's looking good too. Here's some of my winter hardy succulents. These are sempervivums, and they're coming back to life in such a brilliant color. I did take them all out and repot them because I took all of the babies and put them back down in here because these have babies every year. They multiply very prolifically. They're very pretty. They change colors throughout the season. And I also took off the little dead leaves that happened at the bottom. So they're looking really good. And here's some of my ground cover, another succulent, another sedum, and it's called Angelina. It's really pretty. It spreads every year. Starting to spread throughout my rock bed. And I have baby birds. I don't know if the mom is in there, so I don't want to mess with her, but they're tiny little wrens. All right, I gotta go in and have some lunch. Get out of this crazy wind. It's been the windiest month. Well, March was, and now into April. So I think now it's March winds, April winds. Don't know what May will bring. Can only imagine. I just discovered something again, something very beautiful, fascinating. It's fascinating every time it happens, just because it's such a beautiful bloom. Look at my lifesaver plant. It's a succulent called Huernia zebrina. It's amazing. I love it. All right, let's put it back down there in its happy spot. I moved it to put my seedlings up here because that's where it originally was, and it must be pretty happy down there. Got some others starting to bloom down here. Here's one. It already has blooms, but it's going for a second round. So that's pretty cool. And then I've got this other one I showed y'all the other day, Burrow's Tail. And it's gonna have some interesting blooms on it as well. Get my zinnias. They are looking out the window, waiting for the warm temperatures to stay put so they can go outside. Another Cosmo that came up. A little bit darker pink than this other one. Pretty cool. Y'all look at my Carnivorous Plant. It is super happy in here. It is covered in pitchers. Now these leaves form this at the very end. It's actually an extension of a leaf, and that's where the pitchers come from. Very pretty. They're very tropical. They like to stay, above 60 degrees. So the stoves benefited them in the wintertime, but there's all kinds of different varieties of these two, different types of pitchers. My neighbor has some that are Super gorgeous. The pictures look different than mine. And I do believe this one is fixing to bloom.